Hey fellow classmates, it's your girl Sharina, and today I'm going to be talking about the fermented food called poi. So today I'm going to be talking about what poi is specifically, a little bit about the history, and also how to make it at home. Before we get into the basics of how to make poi, I just wanted to briefly talk about why I chose this topic. And a lot of why I chose this food was because of the cultural aspects to it. So poi is actually a native dish to Hawaii, and a lot of the locals and native Hawaiian people actually partake in eating this dish. Poi isn't one of those foods that is so widely known now on the mainland, like spam musubi, loco moco, poke. It's not something that you would find very commonly here. A fun fact about me and my life is that I actually have family that are local to the islands of Hawaii, specifically Oahu. Me, for one, I've lived in California my whole life. I've never tried any of these dishes that are very, very traditional and basically delicacies of Hawaii. So I was very curious, just as much as I'm sure you guys are, to know about this food. So without further ado, why don't we just hop right into it? Okay, so what is poi? Poi is this dish that is native to Hawaii and the locals and natives that eat it. And it can actually be traced back thousands of years. They've been eating it for a very long time. It's made from taro root, which looks like this. It's a root from the taro plant, of course. The Hawaiians actually call this kalo. So I'm not obviously native Hawaiian, so I'll probably just be referring to it as taro. And actually it has a very sweet smell coming from it right now. It actually smells really good, but I wouldn't recommend eating this raw. You do have to cook this, unfortunately. This is taro, not to be confused with purple yam, which is obviously purple. The fun thing about taro is that when you cook it, it does change a little bit into a different color. So this one right here that I have is white. Like, I've noticed that the ones that come from Hawaii are a little bit more purple, but we'll see, it'll transform as I cook it. So the taro has all of these great benefits, nutritional value. It turns out that it's very rich in vitamins. It's better for you than rice. These nutritional benefits get even better when the food is fermented. So as you guys are all aware, fermentation is the metabolic process by which some microbes, such as the ones that you can find in here naturally, take in sugar and produce energy in the form of ATP, as well as gas and acid as their byproducts. So this process in poi, when we make it, doesn't take very long, and you can actually see the effects of these bacteria fermenting within the first day. After the first day, you'll be able to see a change in your poi, you'll be able to smell it, and you'll be able to taste it. So one of the characteristics of poi is that fresh poi is associated with having no taste. So a lot of the locals in Hawaii prefer fermented poi because it gives it a tangy, sour taste. So as I've said previously, poi can last for, days, weeks, maybe even months without refrigeration. And this is due to the effects of fermentation. Byproduct acids that are produced in the poi from the fermentation process make it very uninhabitable for other pathogens and other microbes to grow, which is why that this food can stay without spoilage for a very long time. Sailors in ancient times in Hawaii would take taro root with them when they went on expeditions on the ocean, and they would need something that doesn't spoil because, as you are all well aware, there is no refrigeration out on the ocean. So they would pound the root into this dough that would break up the sugars and cause the bacteria to ferment, and this would last for a long time. The poi would last for a long time, and this is what they would eat out on the ocean when there was nothing else to eat, and it would stay fresh, it would stay okay, it would stay edible. So the nice thing about this is that we don't have to add any bacteria to it. It automatically houses bacteria, and even after boiling, they're still there. So are you guys ready to make some poi with your taro roots? Let's get started. So what you're gonna need is a taro root, a knife for skinning later, something to sort of pound the root with. I don't have any of the traditional tools, so I'm just gonna use a pestle. So you're going to need a big pot for your root, something that fits the root. So you can either steam, boil, or bake your root. So I'm just choosing to steam my root. I have this little contraption here, which is basically just a divider for steaming vegetables. So first, what you want to do is fill up the pot with some water, but not too much because we don't want our taro to boil. We just want it to steam. We're going to use high heat so that it boils a lot faster. The taro root is a root, so therefore it should be covered in dirt. What we want to do is we want to rinse that off before we start. Once it's clean, it's ready for steam. Then you're going to want to put your taro root directly in, and then we're going to cover it, leaving a small hole open for some steam to come out. Then we wait for this to steam until the root is soft enough to pierce with a fork all the way through. So our taro root has been steaming for a little over an hour already, and this is what it looks like. So I'm going to check if it's ready by piercing it with a fork. Looks done to me. So if you remember before, it was pure white, but now it has changed colors. This is how we know it is ready. But before we touch it, we're gonna let it cool down first. It is very, very hot. So the root has been left to cool down just a little bit. I took the liberty of taking my knife and just opening up the skin just a little bit for you to see how easy it pulls off. You can see that. So now all I'm gonna do is just peel off the skin and any outer layer that's not edible. Now take your pestle and pound the taro root until it is of dough consistency. Keep pounding until your arm falls off. Add very minimal amounts of water, just so that it doesn't dry out. And when your arm is about to fall off, your poi should look something like this, like a sticky dough. When you're happy with the consistency and smoothness of your poi, add water to your preference. Mix well. Okay, now that we're done with our poi, it's time for the taste test. So, traditionally, you eat poi with your fingers. The amount of fingers that you eat with depends on the consistency of your poi. So it really depends on the amount of water that you put in. So, I made about a 2-finger poi. So normally you would use 1, 2, or 3 fingers to eat. So, how you do this, roll up my sleeves real quick, is that you're going to take your fingers and start from the inside of the bowl and swirl out. Then, with one motion, into your mouth, like that. Okay? So, let's try. Wow, it's actually surprisingly really good. The way that I would describe this would be maybe like a sweeter, more runny and smooth mashed potato. For comparison, I made one finger poi a few days ago, and it actually has been left to ferment. If you see the color difference, it's pink. Can you see that? It's pink compared to our grayish poi. So I'm a little afraid to eat this because it's been sitting out for 3 days, but if you can see, it has obviously changed color and consistency. It even smells sour too. So, the taste test. If I get sick, I have finals. This is not going to be fun. Oh wow. The flavor profile is actually very, very different on this one. It's actually very, very sour. It's not bad though. I can see why people would like it. Yeah, not bad. I would say that's success. So, I hope you guys learned something new from this video, and I hope that it helped you discover new foods and maybe activated your taste buds to try something new. Thank you for watching.